Hello everyone, this is Sandy Joseph, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science from Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology. This is the first slide of CST 201, Data Structures. The topic that I'm going to discuss is System Lifecycle and Algorithms. So in this slide, I'll be giving you a brief idea about the introduction of data structures, then the system lifecycle, algorithm specification, and then performance analysis, where I'll be giving the introduction to space complexity and time complexity. The prerequisite for data structure is a C programming language. We'll be extensively using linked list, arrays, structures, and pointers, which you have studied in your previous semester, to define the new data structures. So what is a data structure? Your data structure is a collection of data values, the relationship among them, and the functions or operations that can be applied to the data. So your data structures can be generally of four forms. First is your linear, second is your tree, third is your hash, and fourth is your graph. Your linear data structure can be your linked list and arrays that you have studied in your C language. Tree can be your binary tree, heap tree, etc. Your hash, you will have hash tree, distributed hash table, etc. Graphs, your cyclic graph, acyclic graph, directed graph, undirected graph, etc. So all these concepts we will be discussing in the next calls, modules, and slides. So to implement the data structures, or since your data structure is a complex C programming language structures, so to implement we need some methodology. So first methodology is your data abstraction, algorithm specification, performance analysis, and measurement. So what is a data abstraction? A data abstraction refers to providing only essential information to the outside world and hiding the background details. So technically, your data abstraction is normally presented in the OOPS concept, where like a C++ or Java, where you have classes which actually holds the data and its corresponding operations in a single particular class. And to access that particular class, I need the permission of the particular programmer who has programmed that particular class. So outside programs cannot directly access, they need to get the permission for that. Now in C concept, your data abstraction can be possible if you are using a function pointer or enum. But it's actually the data abstraction concept is mainly your C plus OOPS concept. Then your algorithm specification. So before we start doing any coding, first we have to write the algorithm for that particular code, which is actually a normal English human understandable language. We define that particular algorithm, make it workable before we go into the implementation, that is writing the code for that particular algorithm or program. The performance analysis defines how efficient my program or algorithm is. Measurement, different tools for measuring your particular program. Okay, any complex program, if you want to code it, before we do the coding phase, we first try to understand what is the requirement of that particular program and then we try to find or design a very good algorithm to identify how that particular program flow works before we go into the coding phase of that particular program. So this is actually denotes the system life cycle of that particular program. So what are the contents of the system life cycle? First, I go for the requirement phase, where I go for the requirement gathering, like the inputs, outputs, etc. for that particular program. Then I analyze that particular program by based on the requirements that has been given to me. Then I design that particular program by writing algorithms, and then once the algorithm in the design phase, the algorithm is done, we go to the implementation phase where we code each of the algorithms. In some cases, we find that particular algorithm to make it more efficient based on the performance, checking the performance and analysis of other algorithms, which is more efficient than this. So we change the algorithm. That is what you call as refinement, coding. And finally, once the whole program is completed, we do the verification part. The first phase of the particular system life cycle is the requirement phase. The requirement phase, the first thing that we need to know is, for a particular program, what is the specification of that, or the purpose of that particular program. So for example, let's say I'm trying to find the percentage of a student in 5 subjects. So this is my require specification. So I'm writing a small program. I want to write a small program to find the percentage of students in 5 any student in 5 different subjects. So for this particular specification, what can be my inputs? So my input can be 5 values which denotes the 5 subjects. Let's say A, B, C, D and E. Now this is the input for this particular program, and my output should be some percentage value. So how do I calculate the percentage value? If my max value, assume that it is out of 100, so it will be what? A plus B plus C plus D plus E divided by 5. Since each of the subjects is out of 100, so I can give the 5, I get the average, which can be easily converted to percentage value. Now this ABCDE value is actually taken to be integer. Okay, now my percentage can have a decimal value. Now when you know if all these numbers are integer, I divide it by integer, I will always get an integer value. So during my test cases, I should ensure that I have to give different inputs to this particular value, so that I can get different decimal values for this, and I have to test if I'm getting a actual decimal result or not. So this is the requirement phase, where I try to I define a particular problem, which is my specification, identify different inputs that can be given to that particular problem, and then try to find out what all different outputs can be generated from that. So all these input and outputs, we call it as test cases. So my requirement gathering tells me how the test cases works. In the analysis phase, I try to find all possible algorithms that can solve that particular problem. Now that algorithm can exist from some other programmer who has already written the code, or I can design or find my new algorithm which is more efficient. I normally compare the analysis phase. I compare between different sets of algorithms and try to identify the solution. Now, whenever the program is a very huge program, normally we break it down into sub-programs. Now, to implement this breakdown procedure, we have two approaches. One is the bottom-up approach, and the next is the top-down approach. In the bottom-up approach, I try to break down the complete program into sub-programs which can be easily coded separately. Now, in this scenario, actually, we don't know what is the overall project level. Whatever subprograms are given, we start coding that particular subprogram till we reach the complete whole program. Now, this concept or approach actually will result in a lot of errors, and each subprograms will be loosely connected with each other. In contrast, the top-down approach begins with the purpose that the program will serve and the manageable subprograms can be easily programmed. So we write the algorithm for all the subprograms and try to find each subprogram's input, outputs, and its specifications, and define all those things before we go into the coding phase. So normally in a software industry, most of the complex programs are done using the top-down approach. In the design phase of the system lifecycle, the designer approaches with the perspective of the data objects that a particular program needs and the operations that are performed on those data objects. In the case of the program needs, it leads to the creation of abstract data types. The abstract data types are a type of objects whose behavior is defined by a set of values and a set of operations. For example, a class. In a class, it is an encapsulation of the data and the operations that perform on that particular data. Now, in case of C programming, we can give some examples of abstract data types can be list ADT, stack ADT, queue ADT, which we will be discussing later in this particular subject. In case of operations, normally operation performed on these data objects leads to the algorithm specification and designing algorithm strategies. So based on what is the data and what that particular operation does on that particular data, define and try to identify or specify my algorithm, or I try to find any alternate algorithm that can implement this. Since both these are language independent, so normally we can do the refinement phase. During the refinement phase, we choose representation for our data objects and we try to write algorithm for the particular data objects and each operations that can be performed on that particular data objects. The order in which the data object representation is done determines the efficiency of the algorithm. Typically, we normally write down algorithms for each of the operations. Try to analyze that. If there is a modification, we rewrite or we find the algorithm till it suits our requirement. Once all the subprograms algorithms are written, or the main programs algorithms are completely completed, then in the last, if we are sure that it's error free, we go to the coding of each of the particular subprograms. So in this scenario, normally all subprograms will have an input and output, and the output of one subprogram may be an input to another subprogram. So that we need to define all the testing strategies when a flow of event happens from one subprogram to another subprograms. So that is what it means, the order in which the operation is performed. So if the order is changed, my efficiency of the algorithm will change. In the verification phase, we try to develop the correctness proof for the particular program by testing the program with a variety of inputs, and we try to determine if we are getting the desired output or not. Then if there are some mistakes in the output, we try to remove the errors if there occurs any. So for the development of a particular program, normally till the design phase of the system life cycle, we normally deal with the algorithm of the particular program. So algorithm normally plays an important role in the development of a software program. Now, what is an algorithm? An algorithm is a finite set of instructions that, if followed, accomplishes a particular task. Now, to implement the algorithm, each algorithm should satisfy the following given criteria. The first criteria is the input. That is, all algorithms can have 0 or more inputs externally supplied. Your output, it should always produce at least one output. Definiteness, that is, each instruction should be very clear and unambiguous. That is why normally when we write the algorithm, we partially write as a C code and partially in English, so that a normal layman can easily understand what is the purpose of this particular algorithm. Finiteness, if we try to trace each input that is given to that particular program, should generate me an output in a finite number of steps. That is, all cases should be of finite steps, should complete in finite steps. My algorithm shouldn't go into an infinite loop. Effectiveness, each instruction must be basic enough to be carried out. What it means is that it should be easily feasible to code that particular algorithm. Okay, we will look into an algorithm example. So let's say I'm having an array whose name is list, having, let's say, 5 elements, 4, 2, 6, 3 and 1. So my list 0 is my 4, list 1 is 2, list 2 is 6, list 3 is 3, value is 3, and list 4 value is 1. So this algorithm, what it does is, it checks, starts the loop at I equal to 0, I less than n, my n value will be 5, and I try to examine from list I to list n minus 1, and suppose that the smallest integer is at list min. So first it will check list 0, it will assign 4 to the min, then it will check 2, then check 6, 3, 1. Now it checks the complete array, identifies that list min is 1. So what it does, it interchanges the list 0 value and the list 1 value. So technically this becomes 1 and this becomes 4. I increment I, now it points to this. Again the same for loop is examined. From this 2, 6, 3, 4, it identifies the list min is 2, which is same as list I. So no change. Then it increases the I value, goes to 6. Then from 6 till the end of the loop, it checks 6, 3, 4. Next min value will be 3. It swaps 6 and 3. So this becomes 6. Then again it increments. So it compares 6 and 4 and I get 4 and 6. So this is actually a simple program of converting a value in an array in an ascending order. Now there are different sorting algorithm. This is a specific example of selection sort. Your next topic is your performance analysis. Now before we go into the performance analysis, whenever after we have written any algorithm, before we start doing the coding phase, we judge the particular program based on certain criteria. So first criteria is, does the particular program meet the original specification of the task which we have defined in the algorithm? Second is, does it work properly? That is the various sets of inputs that is given to that particular program gives me the specific desired output or not. Third is, does the program contain documentation that shows how to use it and how it works? Normally we add comments like slash star, star slash, or single line comment like double slash, where we specify what that particular program does. So when you are writing a code for each of the instructions or a group of instructions, what is the specification, what it does, you can easily define. For a good programmer, it's a very good thing to define it as a comments. Fourth point is, does the program effectively use functions to create the logical units? So each subprograms that we have defined, are we using it, is it written in a specific function, or the functions that requires to use that particular program, is it done correctly and effectively? Fifth point is, if the program code is reliable or not. Along with these 5 main important criteria, there are 2 more criteria that define the performance of that particular program. The first is, does the program effectively use the primary memory and the secondary storage? We know we have a shortage of storage space, so how efficiently they can swap the values, and if all the data that has been used or the data variable that has been used is being effectively used or not. So this is what you call as your space complexity. And the last is the program's running time acceptable for the particular task? Is there any other program which can be executed faster than this particular program that we have developed? So that is your time complexity. So in the performance analysis, first we will look into the space complexity. So what is the space complexity? The space complexity of a program is the amount of memory that it needs to run to completion. Now it is sum of the following components. First is your fixed space requirement, which is actually the instruction space, that is the whole space to store the instruction, space for defining simple variables, int, float, etc. Then fixed size structures like your structs and constants. So, and the second is your variable space requirement. So it depends on space used by a particular structured variable whose size normally depends at a based on a particular instance I of that particular program. The time complexity of a program is the amount of computer time it needs to run a particular program till its completion. Now, normally it is sum of its compile time and execution time. The compile time is normally similar to the fixed space component of the space complexity, so it doesn't depend upon the instance characteristics. What normally concerns in time complexity is the run time or the execution time of the program. We'll be discussing all this with examples in our next topic. So conclusion, we have discussed the system life cycle, importance of having a good algorithm before coding, and doing the performance analysis. These are the references.